Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I am here with my November reading plans. Also, as you can see, PD is hanging out again in here. He was very appreciative of the compliments he got last time. So I'm mostly going to be talking about the books I plan to read for IndigAthon, but at the end of the video I'll also mention a few of the books I hope to read for Nonfiction November. I will also definitely be participating in BelieveAthon, which is a middle grade themed readathon hosted by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, but I don't have my books really picked out for that yet, so I'll probably update on that later in the month. So IndigAthon runs from November 1st through the 30th, so the entire month of November, and it's all about reading books by Indigenous authors. It is during November because that is National Native American Heritage Month, but the books you read do not have to be by Indigenous authors from the United States. In fact, they encourage you to read from outside the United States. This is a really wonderful readathon. It's created and hosted by Brody at @2Brody and Michelle at Thor Wants Another Letter. I will of course link both of them down below. Please go check them out. Yeah, really excited to be participating again. They do have a bingo board, which I'm going to try to black out with all the challenges. So let's start talking about the books I want to read. For the intersectionality prompt, I want to read Elatsoe by Darcy Little Badger. Our main character is a girl named Elatsoe, and she is asexual, so that's why I'm counting it for the intersectionality prompt. And this is a kind of like contemporary fantasy alternate history, I think. It's set in an alternate United States where Indigenous, I think, is it like creatures? Are just part of everyday life. So creatures from Indigenous folklore are part of everyday life and everyone just knows about them and accepts them. And I believe our main character, her cousin gets murdered, and she can, I think, summon ghosts or something, and she has like a ghost dog companion, and it's about her and I think her family trying to solve the murder of her cousin. Also, under the dust jacket, it's got this like really cool imprint of ghost dogs on it. I've heard really wonderful early reviews for this one, or reviews in general, because it has since come out, and I'm really looking forward to that. Then for the prompt that is to read a book by a new to you author, I have Braiding Sweet Grass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is a nonfiction book, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is another one I've heard amazing things about. And Dr. Kimmerer, she is a botanist, and this book is about the intersection of her Indigenous identity and worldview with her scientific career and knowledge, and basically about how those things aren't mutually exclusive. Like, her view of the world that is informed by Native American spirituality does not interfere with her scientific work and background, and I just think that sounds really cool. I'm really excited to read this, and she's a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. I'm also going to be using this for the buddy read prompt because I will be reading this with a virtual book club that I'm part of outside of BookTube, so yeah, really excited to get to this one. For the prompt to read a book by an author that is not from one of the 5 civilized tribes, I have India No More by Charlene Willing McManus with Tracy Sorel. And McManus and the main character are members of the Umpqua tribe, and this book is about our main character Regina, and I think this is set in, let's see, so it's set in 1957 during the Civil Rights era, and the federal government of the United States has made a decision or a decree that Regina's tribe no longer exists, that they're not a federally recognized tribe anymore. So her and her family get forced out of their homeland, and Regina ends up having to go to a new school. She's faced with racism there, and the book is about her dealing with that and coming to understand her own personal identity better. So I think this is going to be a really important book. I don't think I've ever read a book about the federal decision to just not recognize tribes anymore, although obviously that was a really important thing that happened that drastically affected a lot of people's lives, and this is the first I've heard of a book about that, so really looking forward to reading this one. There might be other books about that, but I just haven't come across them before. Then for the middle grade prompt, I could count India No More for that one, but I also really want to read Mary and the Trail of Tears, a Cherokee removal survival story by Andrea L. Rogers, and this is a part of the Girls Survive series, which I have not read anything from before, and this looks like a really kind of like an early chapter book sort of thing. Like, the font is really big, and this is a very short book, but I think it's really important that we have books that are accessible to young readers about really important topics like this, and if I really like this one, then there's plenty of others in the series that I'm really excited about, and I think that I believe all of the authors that they have to write in this series are own voices for the stories they're talking about, which I think is really cool. I feel like this is kind of like a modern take on the Dear America or the American Girl books even, although definitely quite a bit darker, I think, than at least the American Girl ones. The Dear America ones got very dark, so I definitely want to read this one as well. And then for the free space, I kind of made up a prompt because I really wanted to read these books, and that is to read picture books by Indigenous authors. I have quite a stack here. I have 4 here that I really want to get to, and the first one is Fry Bread, a Native American family story, written by Kevin Noble Mallard, illustrated by Juana Martinez Neal, and this was a Caldecott Honor winner. It won the American Indian Library Association Award, It won the Robert F. Siebert Medal. So yeah, this has been very, very highly recognized, and I'm really excited about it. This is a book about the cultural importance of fry bread across different Native American communities, and it's also got a really beautiful undercover, under dust jacket illustration. And then the end papers, I believe it has, I think it's all of the Native American tribes listed, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah, very excited for this one. I also have We Are Water Protectors by Carol Lindstrom, illustrated by Michaela Goad. This one, I think the art just looks absolutely stunning, and it is about the history of Indigenous people as defenders of the environment and of water. In particular, this book deals with water protecting, and I actually heard about this book from Priscilla at Bookie Charm. I remember she hauled it a while back, and I hadn't heard of it before, and it looked beautiful, so I ordered it, and I'm finally going to be getting to it. I also have Bow Wow Pow Wow, which is by Brenda J. Child, translated by Gordon Jordan, and illustrations by Jonathan Thunder. This is also one that has gotten a lot of really positive attention, and it's about a powwow, and I think that there's I think the main character has a dream that like the dogs are doing a powwow, so this sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun as well. And then the last one, which I don't really know much about the story or the focus of this one, is At the Mountain's Base by Tracy Sorel, illustrated by Bushiot Alviter. And on the back it says, "The roots that ground us help us soar." So maybe this is going to be about family and culture and identity, but really looking forward to getting to all of those picture books. And then for the prompt to read a book by an author who is not from the United States, I have A Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Elliott. This is another nonfiction book, and it's by a Canadian author, and the title is from the Mohawk expression for depression. So this is a memoir about Alicia Elliott's experience with depression, and it also deals with racism and with culture and identity, with grief and love, art, mental illness, poverty, sexual assault, gentrification, parenthood, representation. So this is a collection of essays that deals with a lot of topics, and I think this is going to be quite heavy, but also really important and really powerful. Thunderbird Woman Reads is the one who recommended this on her channel. I will link her down below as well, and she just said such wonderful things about this, so I'm definitely going to try to get to this one this month as well. And then there's also a group book prompt, and the group book for this round of the readathon is Heartbeat Braves by Pamela Sanderson. This is the first book in the Crooked Rock series, which is a romance novel companion series, and I can actually get this one from my library digitally, so I might actually try to get to that one this month. I'm generally not big on reading ebooks, but I do like the sound of this book. I think it's like a workplace antagonists to lovers kind of romance, which sounds really good. And I read the first few pages digitally, and I like it so far. And then the last prompt is non-bookish media. So that's just what it sounds like to consume media from Indigenous creators or artists that is not through books. And I think for this one, what I'm going to do, several of the Native American tribes or bands around me are doing like virtual celebrations. I watched a couple recently that I really enjoyed, so I plan to watch more of those for this prompt. And the reason that so many of these are virtual is of course because of COVID, so a lot of groups are transitioning like cultural celebrations to video. Like I said, I really enjoyed the ones that I watched at the end of October, so I am hoping to watch some more of those this month as well. Okay, so those are the books that I hope to read for IndigAThon. I'm super excited about all of these. I've heard like great things about all of them, and I am just really looking forward to it. Again, a great readathon. Please check out the hosts. Michelle and Brody are both wonderful. And I am also going to talk about a few books I hope to get to for Nonfiction November. This is a readathon that also goes through the whole month of November, and it's hosted by Olive at A Book Olive, Sabrina at Steakachino, Natalie at Curious Reader, Jill at The Book Bully, and Andrea at Infinite Text. And Nonfiction November, they do very loose prompts. They just do four words that you can kind of match up with whatever nonfiction books you want to read. But if you don't want to do the prompts, you can also just read one nonfiction book in November, and that counts as participating. This is actually the first year that I think I am going to try to hit the prompt words. We will see. But the first one is Time. And for that one, I have picked White Rage by Carol Anderson. This is an anti-racism nonfiction book that has been getting obviously a lot of attention recently. And this book traces the history of the United States in regards to racism, specifically against African Americans, and it covers how every time there was a gain in civil rights for Black Americans, every time they finally achieved some rights that they should have had all along, there was an intense response of violence by white people. And I believe this is like a very historical look at that, and at how sometimes this white rage is very kind of under the radar, like how America hasn't gotten like less racist really. It's just gotten sneakier about it. And like I said, I've heard like incredible things about this book, so I definitely want to read this one. I read White Fragility first, which I kind of heard that that one works better as an introduction, so definitely want to make this a priority this month. The next word is movement, and for that one I have a very short nonfiction book, and that is The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House by Audre Lorde. I've read some poetry from Audre Lorde that I really liked, and I think I actually read maybe part of this essay or part of one of her other essays for a college class that I thought was really brilliant, and I've been meaning to read more of her nonfiction for a really long time, and I'm using this for movement because she was obviously very prominent in the civil rights movement, and I think specifically for womanism as well, and I think actually one of these sections in this book, or one of the essays, is learning from the 1960s, which I think is going to directly speak to the civil rights movement and how to take lessons from that for the future. So really, really excited about that one. The next prompt is buzz, and for that one I have Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. So this book I think I got from my mom last Christmas because I'm definitely an introvert. And the reason I chose this for buzz is because I heard a lot of good buzz about this book. I remember, was it last year or the year before, where like it seemed like everybody was reading this one, or a lot of people were reading this book. Also I think it's kind of funny if I pick a book called Quiet for the prompt buzz. I think that's kind of funny. So that's what I want to read for this one, and yeah, I think it's going to be about the value that introverts bring to society. And one of the things that I hope it addresses is that I feel like there's always this implicit assumption that introverts would rather be extroverts, and that like all of these things about how to like function as an introvert in the world are kind of geared towards making you as much like an extrovert as possible, which I don't think is fair. I think there's a lot of like really great qualities introverts have. So I'm really looking forward to this book, and I just realized like this is probably an especially good book to read during quarantine, so that's also very, very relevant, I think. And then finally for discovery, I'm reading a book that I already talked about in this video, and that is Braiding Sweetgrass, because it's about the intersection of scientific discovery or scientific thought with an Indigenous spiritual worldview. Again, really, really excited about this one. And discovery made me think of the sciences, so that's why I picked that book for that prompt. Okay, everybody, so those are the books I hope to read for November. Mainly my picks for IndigAthon, and then also a few Nonfiction November books I hope to get to. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be doing BelieveAthon, and there will be a couple other exciting readathon announcement things coming up. One of them which will be happening in November, so hopefully that video is already up because we're getting pretty close to when it's starting. So anyway, yeah, I will be updating about some other things I'm going to read, but that's where I'm starting out for November. Please let me know if you are participating in either or both of these readathons, and a book that you're really excited to get to in November. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!